Get your math on.
Get your math on. Get your math on.
Get your math on. Get your math on. Get your math on. Peace and welcome back to Get Your Math On with the Math Doctor. We say, what time is it? And we say it's time to get your math on. Welcome back to our second episode of Get Your Math On with the Math Doctor. I am the Math Doctor, Shaheed Muhammad, welcoming you back. Last time we talked about the importance of learning mathematics and how it relates to the human body. Mathematics, we said in the last episode, is in everything and everywhere, and it is universal. Math is in everything you want to be, everything you want to do, everything you like. All of it requires mathematics. Today, the question on our topic is, do you like sports? Do you play sports? Do you shoot basketball? Do you throw a football? Do you wrestle? Do you do swimming? Do you do tennis, badminton, hockey, any type of sport? If you do, guess what? All of them requires mathematics. Every sport you can name, every sport you play, every sport you can think of playing requires some level of mathematics to do what you do. And if you get your math on successfully, then you become a successful athlete in whatever sport you want to do. So all of you that love sports, I want you to know that you better love math as well, because every sport requires mathematics. Let's take ourselves on a fantastic voyage through some of the sports, the popular sports that you like, and show you, guess what? You got to get your math on in order to play them. So let's go through the wonderful world of sports and see, how does math relate to sports? I want to be a football player, a basketball player. I want to swim. I want to do badminton, tennis. I know I don't need no math for that. Wrong. You need math for everything. Now, how many of you have ever played pool before, billiards, shot pool before? Well, guess what? You got to shoot that ball, that billiard ball, at the right angle. You got to ricochet it at the right angle to make it go in the pocket. And you have to shoot it with the right speed and with the right amount of force. If you hit it with too much force, it might hit the wall, bounce off, and not go in the pocket. If you hit it with too short or too small of force, it might get to the pocket, the hole, and stop right there and disappoint you. So mathematics is involved for all my pool players out there, all my billiards players out there. If you want to be a master at pool, billiards, guess what? You got to get your math on, because you need speed. You need the right force. You need the right angle in order to shoot those balls into the pockets that you have, all right? What about my runners? Raise your hand in the house if you want to be a runner or you already run track. Well, when you run track, you have to line up with all the other people that you're racing. And then they shoot the gun up in the air to let you know it's time to go. If you hesitate when that gun is shot, a millisecond, 2 milliseconds, 3 milliseconds, that could cost you the race. And then you have to run in a certain lane, which is a certain width, a certain area of the lane. Then you got to turn the curves at a certain radius in order to stay in your speed, in order to stay in your lane. All that's mathematics. So you can't run track without mathematics. You have to run for a certain amount of time. You got to make sure your speed is constant. You got to make sure that you are giving yourself enough time to make the race and to end it on time. If it's a marathon, but if it's a dash, you got to make sure that your speed is moving. And all that is mathematics, because you're covering a certain amount of feet per second, a certain amount of yards per second, whatever. You have a speed, which is a rate, which is mathematics. Do we have any soccer players in the house? Let me see my soccer players, bam, catching that ball, kicking that ball. Don't you have to kick it at the right angle? Don't you got to make sure that you're running up and down the field with the right speed in order to beat the person in front of you, in order to sneak by them with a certain angle, in order to shoot the ball into the goalie hole? You got to do all that And all that is mathematics. You have to run for a certain amount of time. You have a jump a certain height in order to catch the ball if you're catching the ball. All that is mathematics in soccer. You can't be a good soccer player without mathematics. Let's go to the other sports. Bam. Football players in the house. I know we got a lot of football players. Football season is starting. I want you to know when you're sitting there watching football or when you're in the game playing football, mathematics should be on your mind. Because guess what? You have to throw that football, if you're the quarterback, at a certain radius, a certain height, and with a certain speed in order to reach downfield to the catcher, your receiver that's going to receive it. And if he doesn't jump at the right height, if he doesn't put his hands up at the right angle, it might go through his hands. You've seen many catches that became incomplete passes because something went wrong with the math of the receiver. He didn't put his hands at the right angle. He didn't put his hands at the right height in order to catch the ball. He didn't time his grab at the right time. All that's mathematics. Then you have a field that's what? 100 yards. How are you going to play football and you don't know what a yard is? You don't know how much 100 yards is. You don't even know if you can run 100 yards. You got to be able to estimate. You got to be able to convert. You got to be able to know how many yards that you're running, how many yards you need to get to the next play to get a first down, how many yards you get when you have a penalty. How is that going to affect you? What's the clock look like? What's your time look like? How long is the quarterback going to be in the pocket? How long can he stay in the pocket without getting sacked? All that's mathematics. When you run plays, as you see here, they're full of X's and O's. You have X's and O's in the play. And guess what those X's and O's stand for? They stand for players, but they're like variables in algebra. An X stick represents an unknown number in algebra. Well, here, an X and an O represents an unknown player until the player comes on the field. So the coach makes the play with X's and O's, but you don't get any points until the players come into the field and take their positions. So some of the X's might be defense, the O's might be offense, or vice versa. Then they have plays that they have to run. When you're a running back, you're looking at the angles that you have to cut. You are looking at how wide a hole is made from the blockers for you to get in. How wide does it need to be for you to make that first down run, for you to make that pass 20 yards, 30 yards down the field? All that is mathematics. The quarterback has a certain amount of time to sit in that pocket before he's got to move. What angle is he going to move at? How fast is he going to move? All that's mathematics. What weight must you be to be a linebacker, to be a fullback, whatever? All that's mathematics. And then you kick the ball into that field goal that looks like an H. That is a certain width. So when the kicker kicks, he has to kick at the right speed and at the right angle in order to make it into the goal. All that is mathematics. You cannot get away from the mathematics in football. What else? Boxing. When you box, you know what I mean? You got to hold your hand with the right angle, right? You got to duck, bob, and weave. All that's mathematics, okay? Then you have, when you're doing your combos, you have a 1 and a 2. Then you have a 3 and a 4. Then you have a 5 and a 6. All that's mathematics. So your coach is going to call out 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 1. You got to know what those numbers mean or you'll be punching the wrong punch. It might get knocked out. You have to block. Hold your hands at a certain height in order to block the punch coming at you. You got to have endurance, meaning you have to be able to last the amount of time for each round. Can you make it to the second round? Do you have enough gas to make it to the 5th round? All that is mathematics. You have to build up your endurance. And then you got to punch, bam, with the right speed and force. You can't punch nobody like this. I want to knock you out. It's not going to happen because your punch doesn't have power because you don't have the right speed and you're not giving it any power without speed. All that is mathematics. And then look, each boxing round, someone comes up and holds the number of the round. because people are not good at math. So they got to hold up. Hey, it was just the 5th round. Here she is telling us what? It's round 6. I already knew it was round 6 because I know my math. I know 5 plus 1 is 6. I know the next round is going to be 7 and 8 and 9. Why does the person have to come out with a sign telling you what round it is unless math skills are low? That's why you got to get your math on. You shouldn't need her to tell you it's round 6. You just knew it was round 5. What's wrong with us? Get your math on, all right? What else? Baseball. Baseball, the pitcher has to throw the ball at the right angle, but then he has to look at the area of the strike zone. The strike zone is a certain area. And if he doesn't throw it in that area, then it might be a foul ball. It might not be counted as a strike, and he won't get that hitter out. Then he has to be careful not to throw it at the right spot, area-wise, where that hitter can knock it out the ballpark. So all that's mathematics. Then the catcher has to catch the ball that's coming at a certain speed. He's got a certain area that he has to catch that ball. He has to make sure he put his hand up at the right time or he'll get hit in the head with the ball. Then they have to throw it a certain distance to first base, second base, third base. The shape of the diamond is a rhombus, which is a quadrilateral, all sides equal. You got to know what you're running. You're running a rhombus when you go around the base to get a home run. All that's mathematics. When you knock it over the box, over the thing that makes it a home run, that's a certain height. In order for you to get a home run, that ball has to be hit at a certain height, a certain speed. It's got to go like a parabola, reach a maximum point, and then this ball's going to come down. And you want it to come down where that bad boy is a home run. All that is mathematics. Then each baseball player has a what? They have a batting average. And how do you calculate an average? It's with mathematics. Get your math on. You got to know mathematics in order to know your batting average. You don't want to be interviewed as a baseball player. They say, what's your batting average? Oh, I'm not sure because I'm not too good at math. No, you got to be good at math so you can get your math on and know your batting average. It is a formula. Look at that formula in front of you. That's mathematics. That's algebra. H is a variable. AB is a variable. Average is a variable that you're trying to calculate and determine. That's an algebraic expression, how to calculate your batting average. All that's mathematics. Good Lord, good Lord. What else? Hey, my favorite, great, the GOAT, greatest of all time, Serena Williams, she hit one of the fastest, she had one of the fastest serves of anyone in the history of tennis. She would smack that ball at a certain speed that the opponent on the other side didn't even know it was coming, didn't even see the ball go past them. This is when she was in her prime. She was smacking that ball with that tennis racket at tremendous speeds. They were clocking her speed of her serves. And that speed of that serve made the opponent on the other side discombobulated, obfuscated, messed up. They had to recover from the speed of Serena and her sister Venus. They had fast speeds for their serves. When you play tennis, you got to hit that ball at the right angle. You got to hit it with speed. You got to hit it with force. You got to get it over the net, which is a certain height that you have to cover. Then the service area and the area that you play, the court is only a certain size. So you have to keep that ball within that area, in that perimeter of that tennis court in order that the ball is not a foul ball. All that is mathematics. You got to know the area of the court. You got to know the perimeter. You got to know the area that you can serve in, the area that is allowed to be hit in, return. All that's mathematics. Sometimes you got to hit a little lobby shot to get it over the net and just plop right over. That's a parabolic equation. That's a quadratic equation. It just hops over the net like a parabola. All that is mathematics. So Serena and Venus were using mathematics to become the greatest of all time. Beating Wimbledon, US Opens, French Opens, Australian Opens. They didn't do that without good mathematics in their swing, in their returns, in their serves, in their endurance, in their running from one side to the other side. All that is mathematics. And the statistics that they piled up made them, and in particular Serena, the GOAT, because her statistics showed it. And guess what statistics is? It's mathematics. So we take our hat off to our beloved Venus and Serena, but Serena in particular, because she is going down in history as the GOAT, the GOAT, greatest of all time. And guess what? Serena got her math on. Bam. How many of y'all bowl out there? We got any bowlers? Think that they good? Well, when you bowl, the bowling pins are set up in a triangle format, like a pyramid almost. There's a front pin like you see on this diagram, and then they go out kind of like a pyramid or a triangle. And each pin has a position that is a numerical position on the bowling alley. And then you have to swing that bowling ball at the right angle. And you have to line your arms up and your wrists up perfectly so that the ball goes where it's supposed to go, down that line. You can do a bowling where you go down the line and it curves in. That's one thing I used to do when I used to bowl. It makes it curve in and then hits the pin, or you can do a shot that goes straight down. But it all depends on how you line up your wrist with the bowling ball. And then you have to calculate your bowling average, your bowling score. That's mathematics. If you don't know mathematics, you can't even score your bowling game. You're going to have to get somebody else to do it for you. You don't even know how much a strike is worth, how much a split is worth, how much we're knocking this one down and that one down is worth. All that is mathematics. And to keep your ball out of the gutter, it has to be thrown with the right angle, with the right speed. All that is mathematics. So good Lord, you mean to tell me every sport I like, every sport I want to go into requires math? Math, doctor? Guess what? The answer is yes. Let's keep it moving. Get your math on. We got any swimmers in the house? Now, the math doctor has to be honest. I am not a swimmer. I just didn't learn how to swim. And so now the math doctor has to watch the height of the pool that I go into. I got to know the depth of water, because anything over 5 feet, the math doctor's afraid to get into because he does not know how to swim. Terrible. So the math doctor's got to go to swim class. But in swimming, you have a lane that you're allowed to swim in if you're doing professional swimming, college swimming, where you're swimming for a race or something like that, or long distance. You got to stay within that area, that rectangle, that's your lane when you're in the swimming competition. Then you have to dive out at a certain angle. Your body has to be kind of like a parabola in order to get that wind resistance, that aerodynamics that'll make you propel yourself farther than your opponents. All that's mathematics. You have to move your arms at a certain rate. You have to move them at a certain angle. Your legs and your feet must flutter and fluctuate up and down at certain angles, at certain speeds, at certain rates, in proportion with other things of the water. You have to be able to breathe in, breathe out. You have to keep a certain rate of breathing in order to get that speed going on in the pool, or in order to go deep, deep down in the water. And then there's a mathematical relationship of how far you go down in the water to the pressure that the water puts on your body. So that's why submarines you have to get in a submarine to go further down into the ocean, because there's a mathematical relationship. The further you go down, the more pressure is on you from the water, and it can implode you and crush you if you don't know how far you're allowed to go before you get crushed. Good Lord, everything is mathematics. You mean to tell me when I'm swimming, I'm using math? Doggone Skippy you are. There's so much math involved in swimming. Get your swim on, but get your math on. Bam. We talked about baseball. We talked about football, boxing. We have any gymnasts, Simone Biles in the house, Dominic Dawes, and all the other powerful gymnasts, the queens out there that are powerful gymnasts, setting the bar up. Excellence. You cannot do gymnastics without mathematics and physics coming together. Your physics has to be right. You have to balance yourself with that small area. by knowing your weight, knowing the angles at which you move, knowing the angles at which you position your body so you don't fall over. Then you got to be able to flip at the right speed, at the right angle so that you don't fall over. All that's mathematics. You got to know the center of gravity. You got to know your center of gravity, because when you're flipping and spinning and catapulting and doing all those things, all that is based on the center of gravity of your body so that you don't fall when you land. All that's mathematics. Angles, speeds, forces, the physics of your body, the physics of gravity, all that requires mathematics. And when you look at Simone Biles just flipping all over the mats, turning, twisting, rotating, doing all type of angles with her body, all that's mathematics. She's mastered mathematics with gymnastics. And she is going down in history as a GOAT as well. And all the other gymnasts that are great at gymnastics, if you want to be great at gymnastics, you got to know the mathematics of gymnastics in order to be great, in order to master that sport. There's so much math involved in gymnastics. What about my ball players? Oh, we got so much math involved in basketball, you don't even know. You're on the court breaking ankles and moving and so forth and shooting, trying to slam dunk. You're not even thinking that every time you shoot, you have to shoot from a certain height. You're a certain distance from the basketball court. You have to shoot it at the right angle with the right speed, or that bad boy is going to be a brick. It might go too high. It might go too short. It might just hit the rim in front and knock off. But in order to get a swish, to get it right in the net, it has to be the right speed, the perfect angle, the perfect height. All that's mathematics. Steph Curry knows the mathematics of shooting. Kyrie Irving knows the mathematics of shooting. All of them, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, they all using mathematics to slam, to shoot, to make a three-pointer, to break someone's ankles. You know what I mean? AI, the answer, Allen Iverson, bam, used to use mathematics in order to shake and break somebody, make him go that way and he turns this way, then goes up and slam dunk. All that is mathematics. When you run to the outline out of bounds and you save the ball before falling, that's mathematics. You jumped at the right time in order to do that. All that requires mathematics. What happens at halftime of every basketball game? You get statistics. What happens at halftime of every football game? You get the statistics. You get averages, free throw percentages. You get number of steals, number of assists, number of runs from the running back, number of runs from the quarterback, number of completions from the quarterback. All that's mathematics. And you can tell the result of the first half, and you didn't even see it, by just looking at the statistics. And statistics is a branch of mathematics. Good Lord, good Lord. But then it gets even higher, family. Do you know that when you see these beautiful slam dunks that Jordan used to make, LeBron makes, Kyrie Irving makes, a whole bunch of different people that are slam dunking day and night, when they jump off the court and go into the air, they are following a parabolic path. They reach a maximum height, and then they slam dunk and come back down to the ground. Do you know that that's a quadratic function? You're looking at one right on the screen. Height is based on time. The time when they're on the court is 0. The height is 0. And then they start jumping and they start rising in the shape of a parabola, which is a quadratic function that describes it. Then once they reach that maximum point, then gravity starts pulling them back down to the court. And then bam, they're back down to the court after slam dunking. You can tell a player's hang time using quadratic functions. You can tell a player's ability, how long they're going to be in the air before they come back down to the ground. All that's mathematics. And we're not talking 1 + 1 and 2 + 2. We're talking quadratic functions, which is high-level algebra 2, y'all. Pre-calculus. All that's going on with basketball. Good Lord, good Lord. And then the basketball court, like tennis, has a certain area, has a certain perimeter. Half court has a certain amount of space. The paint, where usually the center or the forward might operate in, that's a certain area. You're only allowed to be in there for a certain amount of time. There's a certain distance for a three-pointer, a certain distance for a two-pointer. All that is mathematics. So don't tell me I love basketball, but I hate math. Something's wrong with you. Don't tell me I love football, but I hate math. Something wrong with you. Because all of them requires mathematics for you to play, for you to score, for you to excel, and for you to be great. The GOAT at that sport. Oh, watch out. My martial artists, watch out now. Did you know that every time you do martial arts, you're doing mathematics? Don't you have to punch at a certain speed? Don't you have to block at a certain angle? Kick at a certain angle. I'm sitting down, so I can't show you the kick, but you got kicks going on in these pictures. All that is mathematics. If you don't kick at the right angle, you can break your foot, break your ankle, miss the person and get knocked out. Oh, that's mathematics. You have to punch at the right angle. You don't punch like this, you'll break your wrist, right? If you don't punch at the right angle, you can break your fist. All that's mathematics. You got to have power. You got to have angles. You got to have force in order to do all your martial arts. Bruce Lee was a supreme mathematician because he was a supreme martial artist. Awesome. So you can't tell me I love martial arts. I want to be like Bruce Lee. I want to be like Jet Li. I want to be like Grandmaster Anthony, Aziz Muhammad. Whatever you want to be like, or whoever you want to be like, you can't be like them if you don't get your math on with that martial arts. Speed, angles, force, power, endurance, the same things you needed in boxing. But now you're using your feet. Now you're using open hands. All that is mathematics. You want to break bricks. All that is mathematics. You got to hit that brick at the right time. You got to hit it with the right force. All that is mathematics. When you're doing your kata, you have to breathe in, breathe out with the right rate. All that is mathematics. You can't get away from it. When you do locks and you lock somebody, all those locks are creating rotations. You're dealing with the rotation of the joints when you do the locks, and doing a lock a certain way, a finger lock, certain way, a S lock, a certain way. All that is creating mathematics with your wrist, mathematics with your joints. That's either putting you locked up or locking you down. All that is mathematics. So if you want to be great at martial arts, you need to get your math on. Bam. So there's so many other sports. Hockey. You got to have the temperature on the floor, a certain temperature, so that that puck can slide through and create ice. All that is mathematics. We could go on. Badminton, you got the net at a certain height. You got to have it there. All that's mathematics. Volleyball, you got to keep the ball up. So you got to hit it at the right angle. You got to run a certain speed to get to the ball before it hits the ground. All that is mathematics. You can't name me any sport. If you want to be a diver and you dive into the pool, you got to dive at the right angle. If you dive at the wrong angle, then you can hit the water at the wrong angle and break your neck and die. All that is mathematics. You got to make sure you get your math on. I could go on and on. Hang gliding, mathematics, scuba diving, mathematics. You got to make sure you got enough oxygen. You got to make sure you understand the pressure that's going to happen when you go down in the ocean. Like I said before, all that's mathematics. We have any bicyclists in the house. When you're bicycling, that tire is rotating at a certain speed based on the circumference of the tire, based on the radius of the tire. You buy bikes based on the radius, the inches of that tire. All that's the circumference of the tire, the radius of the tire, the diameter. All that determines how fast the bike's going to go. Is it going to be a speed bike, or is it going to be a mountain bike? All that is based on mathematics, because the mountain bikes have a thicker tire than the speed bikes, which have a very thin tire. That's mathematics. How far you go on that bike, mathematics. You can't get away from it. What about water skiing, jet skiing, mathematics? Because that jet ski is like hydroplaning over the water. It's only able to do that because of math and science. All that's mathematics. We could go on and on. You can name me any sport. Golf, come on, please. I heard one of you holler, you don't need math for golf. What you talking about, Willis? You got to get your math on for golf because you got to hit the ball at the right angle. You got to hit it with the right force. It's just like pool a little bit. You got to hit it with the right angle, hit it with the right force. When you drive the ball, when your first hit, it has to go up like a parabola, reach a maximum point and come down. And you want it to come down as close to that hole as possible. All that is mathematics. Tiger Woods was a master at mathematics with the golf. There's not one sport that you can name me where you don't need mathematics. So we're going to stop there. This is episode 2 of Get Your Math On with the Math Doctor. We hope to come back with episode 3, and we're going to continue talking about math is universal. Math is in everything. Math is everywhere. So whatever you like, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do in life, guess what? You need to get your math on. Peace. Until next time, I'm out. Fight the power. Do the right thing, and guess what? Get your math on. See you.
Get your math on. Get your math on.
Get your math on. Get your math on.
Get your math on. Get your math on.
Get your math on. Get your math on. Get your math on.